Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing absolutely fine. So today we are going to discuss the lecture 1, which is introduction. So we already covered the first lecture, which was lecture 0, which discussed about what are the things that we are going to discuss. So right now we are here discussing the introduction. So let's start. So before learning Linux, let's understand Linux is an operating system. Okay. But what is an operating system? What's the definition of an operating system? Okay. So operating system is nothing but it's a intermediary between user and computer hardwares. For example, you are using your keyboard, you are using your mouse, you are able to move mouse, you are able to type on keyboard. At the end of the day, these all things are being processed by operating system only. Okay. So operating system acts like a communication bridge between user and the computer hardwares. Okay. So whenever you are creating file, whenever you are listening to music, whenever you are doing multiple tasks. So memory allocation, storage, CPU, resources, everything is being taken care by your operating system only. I mean, if you are using the most common operating system, that is Windows, so whether you are clicking on switching tabs, clicking on an icon, playing music, then canceling music, creating file, writing something, saving them, everything is being taken care by operating system only. Okay. So operating system is a software that directly manages a system's hardware and resources like CPU, memory, and storage. Okay. So operating system is classified into two types. What are those two types? The first one is GUI based and the other one is CLI based. Now, what is the difference between both? Let's understand. GUI based means graphical user interface. So we are using Windows operating system. Everything we can do graphically. We can click on icons. We can right click and create files. We can double click to open an application. We can install the softwares by going and installing it, going next, next, next. Okay, those all things we can do by looking at the screen. Okay, so it is more user friendly, guys. GUI is a user friendly operating system. Okay, so as I told, it uses icons, menus, mouse. You can move them and click accordingly and interact with the all the resources. Oh, okay. So like Windows, this is a graphical use interface, GUI based. And what is then command line based? So CLI is nothing but it's a text based operating system, but it is not user friendly. Let's understand CLI. For example, you can go here, type CMD and see this open. Okay. Now if we do mkdir in C users HP, any file we are making, for example, Linux test dot, okay, Linux test folder we are making, enter. Now it got created. Now let's check. We'll go to C users HP, right? Uh, see, this is the file is C users HP. What was the file folder we created? Linux test. See, right now, 6 o'clock, it got created. So we created this by using commands. That is the example of command line based, but we could have also done right click, new folder, equal to Linux that file to like traditional way we are doing. This also created text file. This also, there is no difference. At the end of the day, text file created is being created. Text folder is being created, sorry, but different approaches. Okay. CLI is text based. Okay. So let me write here. CLI text based interface. It means non-friendly user, non-user friendly operating system. Okay. Then why at all do we need to use CLI? Isn't this one better? GUI is better than no. The main thing is this point, guys. It consumes low memory and it's faster than GUI. See, whenever you are creating files by using GUI, it's a costly operation. Whereas using command lines, it consumes low memory and it's faster also. Okay, so that's why CLI is more preferred, especially in production environments. Now, Linux is GUI based. What about, sorry, Windows is GUI based. And what about Linux? Linux is CLI based. Okay, that's why it was important to understand the difference between the two. So Linux is non-graphical, non-user friendly. It's command line based. Okay, so so we discussed about two types of operating system. Now let's move ahead. We discussed what is operating system, then we discussed types of operating system. First one is graphical user interface, then CLI. Then let's discuss functions of OS. I pointed it out only. Let me just put it in notes for better understanding. So these are the functions of OS. Security, error detection, job controlling, memory management, process management, device management, and file management. Okay, all these things are the functions of operating system. Every operating system, whichever it is installed, it has to it's responsibility to perform these tasks. Okay. Now I think we got a good understanding about operating system. Okay. So instead of putting more times here, see operating system altogether is a very deep topic. So if uh, you are from computer science background, then it's a subject only, operating system. So that's why it's not very necessary to go very in depth about all the things. So we got a basic understanding of what is operating system. Now I think we can start with Linux. Okay, so let's start with what is Linux. Okay. Now Linux is a open source operating system. Okay, Linux is a open source operating system. What does this mean? We change to media. Okay. Linux is a open source operating system. So open source nothing but open source means it's free. Okay, anyone can use Linux. It is completely free. That's what open source means in general. You don't require license for this. Okay, like Windows is not an open source. Okay, so if you want genuine Windows, you have to pay amount to Microsoft, right? So that is not the case with Linux. The creator of Linux kept it free. Who was the creator of Linux? This guy, Linus Torvalds. He created Linux in 1991 and he decided to keep it free. If he would have kept it paid, then he would be richer than Bill Gates also. But he kept it free and open source. So he is a great guy. Okay? He created it in 1991 and then released his first version in 1994. Okay? Now, Linux includes kernel, system, user space, and applications. So this is a topic of second lecture when we will discuss architecture of Linux. Then we will understand what is kernel, how the architecture of Linux is based. Okay. So right now, it's just understand that kernel is the heart of the Linux operating system. Okay. Okay. One more important point about Linux. Linux can be used as a server or a desktop. What does this mean? See, Linux can be used as a server. This means that in production environments, when you are deploying apps, you can use Linux. Okay, I mean for your apps to run uh, smoothly, it's necessary that the operating system must run smoothly because the app will run on top of it only. So Linux can be used as a server, or you can use Linux as your personal operating system also. For example, right now we are using Windows, but instead of Windows, we can use Linux also. Okay. Now, as we discussed, Linux is open source. Okay. So open source, what does open source mean? Let me write it here. Linux is a free and released under GNU, means General Public License. It means anyone can run, study, share, and modify software. Okay. So open source means GPL. GPL license is given to open source software. So it's free and released under general public use. Anyone can run, study, and share and modify the software. So we'll discuss it again. Okay. When we discuss distro of Linux. Now let's discuss why is Linux better. Okay. The first point. Linux is very secure. Linux protects your computer. So you would have never heard of terms like virus attacks on Linux systems. No, Linux is 110% secure. It's non-GUI based. That's the main reason it's more secure. Okay. So Linux protects your computer. It gives you freedom. You can do anything using Linux. Okay. You can enjoy free and unlimited support from Linux. You don't need to pay hundreds of dollars like any other operating system. Okay. You can enjoy it for free and it's faster also. So yeah, faster and free. So that what make Linux better. Then there is no annoying crashes and reboots. So for example, in case some of the softwares in Windows they require uh, you install them and then they require that no you have to reboot your system in order to run that application, right? But that's not the case with Linux. Okay, then you can manage multiple windows and use workspaces concepts. Okay. So you can do multitasking in Linux in more efficient fashion. Linux already comes with some pre-installed powerful tools that we are going to discuss. Okay. Apart from this, the performance is also better. And the main thing, it's free and open source. And it's used in 95 to 96% production environments are using Linux only. Okay. Apart from this, Linux is also used in cloud. That's very important. So nowadays, see, everyone is switching towards cloud only, right? Cloud is also based on Linux only, okay? So what is cloud? You can run your application on cloud also, you must have heard. But in the backend, what are they using? They are also using Linux only. See, when it comes to cloud, even Microsoft Azure, this is Microsoft Azure is the cloud provided by Microsoft company. More than 60% of the images are Linux based. Okay. So they are also using more than 60% of the images that Microsoft company is using. Microsoft Azure cloud is Linux based only. Apart from this, AWS, GCP, Oracle, these are the most common cloud providers. AWS is number one leading, then GCP, then Microsoft Azure, then Oracle also. So they also use multiple distribution of Linux. That also we are going to see when we learn AWS that the operating systems which they are providing, maximum of them are Linux only because they are in most demand. Okay. Apart from this, the whole Web 2, you must have heard Web 2, Web 1.0, Web 2.0. So it's and Web 3.0 right now it is going on. Web 2.2, which is the modern web that we are using, it is also built on top of Linux only. And as we discussed, the cloud revolution, that also was founded on Linux. Okay. The big data solutions, software-based storage appliances, microservices and containerized applications, and software-enabled networking are Linux-based. So this will be a difficult point for you. Just understand that majority of the companies are using Linux only. Okay, and the innovation of the future will be built using Linux. In future also, you will require Linux only. Okay, that Linux is not going to be replaced anytime soon. Okay, now let's discuss about Linux distributions. Okay, so what does distribution means? So distribution means you have something, you distribute them to others also. So in Linux terms, Linux, what is Linux distribution? A Linux distribution or distro is an installable operating system built from the Linux kernel, okay, supporting user programs and libraries. Each vendor or community's version is a distro. See, there are various distribution of Linux, or you can say flavors of Linux, which means in the background they are using Linux. So see, Linux was open source and free. So many companies, what they did was they used this open source software, modified it according to their use, and then released it according to with their name. Okay. See, let me explain it diagrammatically. So this is Linux. Okay. Many companies, what they did was they used Linux, then they modified it, and then they built a new operating system based on Linux only. For example, AWS Linux, Ubuntu, CentOS, RHEL, and many others. Okay. So they are all based on Linux only in the background. Okay. This is Windows 3. Okay. So they all are based on same Linux kernel. XYZ company picked up the Linux operating system, modified it, and created a new operating system. For example, let me give you most popular examples here. So these are the most popular examples. These are Linux distributions: Red Hat, Fedora, Ubuntu, Kali Linux, MX Linux, CentOS, Linux Mint, Arch Linux. There are many. I mean, I don't know. There will be thousands of operating systems, okay, that are based on Linux. These are the most prominent ones. And you know what? These companies took Linux kernel, built new operating system on top of Linux kernel, and they kept it paid. So that's a fact. Okay. For example, Red Hat. I mean, not all of them are paid, but many of them. Okay. And many of them are for personal use also. That also we'll discuss. So yeah, this was about it. So they are all based on Linux kernel only. Let me write it. All are based on Linux kernel. What was Linux kernel? I briefly discussed that it was the heart of operating system. So heart of Linux was Linux kernel. So they utilized that and made new operating systems. I mean the new distributions or flavors you can say. Okay, all are based on Linux kernel. You can think of it like they used the concept of same car. There is a car. Okay, the car has an engine. So they used the same engine and built cars with different models. For example, a sedan, a SUV. Okay. So different companies built according to their use case. And all of them became very popular. So yeah, that was about Linux introduction. Now, I think in the next lecture, sorry, we can discuss about architecture of Linux. So I'm keeping it a little bit short. Okay. This was the introduction. I hope you guys understood it. And if at all you have any questions, please post it in the comment section. I will be more than happy to help you and get that question resolved. And if at all you have any queries, anything related to my teaching style, if you like or even dislike, then also please post that so that I can work upon it. Okay. So yeah, that will be a request from you guys. And that was about it. Today we discussed the introduction, and tomorrow we are going to discuss architecture of Linux. And this much introduction is more than enough. No need to get go in the more depth. Okay. And many people ask question that I'm learning Linux, I'm learning Ubuntu. Should I learn anything else? Should I learn Kali Linux? Should I learn Red Hat? See, you have to learn Linux. 99.9%, 99% commands are same only. Okay. There is a little bit difference that will not be a problem. 99% of the concept in all the Linux flavors or distributions are same only. So don't worry about which Linux are you going to learn. Pick up anyone, learn anyone, and then move ahead. And according to the future requirement, you can use anyone, any distribution. Okay. So this is not a limited list, guys. This can be extended. As I told, there are thousands of Linux distributions. So is it possible that you learn everyone? And there is no point also. Okay. You pick anyone. I would suggest pick up Ubuntu or Red Hat. Okay. They are most popular. You can go with Red Hat. This is one of the most popular operating system nowadays. Due to its enterprise support level and everything. I will discuss this when I teach. So you can go with anyone, but these are most popular ones. Okay. So yeah, that was about it. And again, it's if you are learning Linux, then it's a very good decision. And I would encourage you that you stick to the end of the playlist and learn Linux in depth. So thank you. Please like the video if you understood anything. And yeah, please comment and let me know that if anything needs change. Okay. So thank you guys. We'll meet in the next lecture. Thank you.